Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Rusty Nelson down here in the Villages, Florida, 55 and over retirement community, and today we are doing questions and answers and comments. We've got train shows, tours of the homes to talk about, messaging me, complaints, and some goofy questions at the end. Let's go ahead and get started. I hope everybody's having a great day. I'm Rusty Nelson down here in the Villages, Florida, and today is one of those days where we do comments, questions, answers, that kind of thing, talk about some weird stuff that's happened probably, but we're going to talk about a whole bunch of things. But whatever you do, please do the thing where you subscribe and like. It really helps out the channel. Also, you guys have really been jumping in with the comments, and I really appreciate it. I try to answer all of them. I can't tell you how much that helps the channel out. Plus that people learn a lot from them. And actually, at the end, we'll take a look at a couple of comments that I'll let you guys decide whether you think they're real or not. But let's go ahead. Let's just jump right into the first kind of thing to talk about. Here we go. I guess this kind of goes along with the comments and questions and that type of thing. You know, I've been doing these home tours. We'll talk about those in a second. But I've told you to get in contact with me. Usually there's a second line where you can just message me on Facebook and I'll try to get back to you. With 27,000 subscribers or over 27,000 and a lot of people on Facebook and stuff like that, it's not that I don't want to talk to people, but I just don't have the time to strike up a lot of conversations outside of like the tours and that type of thing. So please, when you put the comments in Messenger on Facebook and stuff like that, I probably don't even see them, just simply because I'm only trying to hunt down certain things that are on there. So please put your comments in the comment section on here. Like I said, as far as I know, nobody sees them except for me until I approve them. So if it's some kind of information I need to take out of it, I will do it privately. But anyway, that's about it. Sorry about that. I also people have asked me to give out my phone number and email address and everything else. If I did all that, I probably would never have time to enjoy the great things that the Villages has to offer around here. Okay, enough on that. Let's jump on to another one. I just mentioned home tours. Let's segue into that really quick. Man, I've got a backlog of about 4 or 5 of these now. Not a backlog, but ones that I have to actually edit and stuff like that. They've turned out really great. I want to thank the homeowners so much for doing these because they've really kicked in a lot of information. I just did one. If you haven't subscribed for these, please do, because the last one I just did, I think, was the pre-owned home one. And, those folks had a lot of information to give out. I know a lot of you have asked about, well, why won't you tell us what the price is? This is not a real estate. This is not a real estate channel. It's just not. I don't work for the Villages. I have nothing to do with the Villages. And, I asked the homeowners, and so far everybody just kind of goes like this. They really don't want to talk about the price. But what I will tell you, and I'm not trying to slough it off, it's just something that these homeowners are so nice to do. They just don't want to talk about the total price. But what they do is when they get add-ons, and I just did one the other day. This guy's got like every add-on that I've ever seen, and really cool stuff, and speakers he's installed and all kinds of stuff. That one will be a few down the road, but I hope you enjoy that one. But you can look. It's so easy to go on to thevillages.com, go in, you can search whatever model, you can see whatever area, you can see new, used, you can see new ones, and it has the price. So they're willing to talk about the add-ons that they do, if they did a pool, if they did molding or something like that. A lot of them are willing to talk about that. So you can look at a base price of a home on the website, and then you can add things in on your own that they've added from either the design center, or now even I'm getting people that have had stuff built in right away before they even moved in. This was written by one of the people that gave the tours, and there's kind of a cool thing in there. He wrote, "While respecting the privacy of the sellers and the transaction, what I can offer is this. when you consider the type of view, lot, bond, and that type of thing. Now, they had done a pre-owned, but I think the important thing is he says, while expecting the privacy of the seller. So it's not only the people that bought it, it's the sellers also. If you want to do these, they're really easy to do. I just come in after you close, but before you've put in furniture and that type of thing. And we just run around the house, talk, and have a good time. Some people have invited me over to dinner already and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. It's so much fun talking to people. Not only that, get to help a lot of other people, that are afraid of, some of this. Some of these people, it's the first house they've bought. So the last person I did, this is their fourth house in the Villages. So they had a lot to talk about. Anyway, I think you get the point. It's just not something that people are willing to talk about, and I'm not going to push it on them. So just remember, I don't work for the Villages. This is not a real estate channel. This is just to try these home tours, or to try to help you out and give you some of the things that people have learned that have already bought a house. Let's move on to the next one. Keep it all move really quick.
Okay.
Here we go.
So
That's pretty good.
you can see the kids really enjoy this one.
Yeah, the kids?
And of all ages,
These kids?
big kids and little
These
kids.
kids? Yeah.
We're having fun.
And there's more pushing. Of course, there's Thomas the Tank Engine.
Engine.
That was from 2022, I believe. So that was like when I first got up here. And that is the Model Train Club here in the Villages. They put on a couple of shows a year. A lot of fun. It's really intricate modeling if you're interested in modeling, that type of thing. But it's fascinating just to go to, because there's a lot of people that have stories about trains and their history and that type of stuff, and a lot of the modeling. But the kids love it. There's places there you can get your pictures taken in a train and that type of thing. So here's the announcement from the club itself. And even if you're not interested in, or you don't make the show, that's a pretty cool club to belong with. There's a lot of people that put their energy into making this happen over the few days that it's up there. And from what I understand, it's gotten so big, they're adding a whole nother room to it. So there's a lot to see. Make sure you go up and check that out and support these folks. On to the next one. Next subject is weather. And as many of you know, I used to be a storm chaser, kind of like Twister, I guess you would say, for well over a decade. And I would take people from all over the world out chasing after inclement weather for photography reasons. And when I came out here and retired, when we get something bad coming through, I'll either report after the storm or during the storm or in the middle of the storm. And I do that live from my car, so make sure you're subscribed. You'll get part of that. But anyway, what I wanted to bring your attention to right now, we try to keep everything really, really simple when I talk about it. Always check in with your local weather forecasters, that type of thing. But this is Thursday, so I'm looking out when I'm recording this, but I'm looking out for Sunday and Monday, and that's Saharan dust. Now, a lot of people don't understand what that is, but off the coast of Africa comes with the winds, and depending on the current conditions, can come basically dust storms in the upper atmosphere, and you'll get to see it around here. It's probably a little bit hazy, and you might see a little orangey sky and sunrise, that type of thing. But Sunday afternoon, Monday, I would say that you may want to, if you are somebody that is susceptible to dust and that type of thing, you may want to plan things inside, not a lot of outside activity. But if you see it, that's what the orange skies are for, and a little bit of dust hanging around and sometimes some dirty rain. Anyway, just something to think about. Kind of check in with your local meteorologists, and I'm sure they'll update you on that. Next subject. So frustrated over this. I've been literally asking this question, same question, since I believe like 2022 on these videos. I have never have I gotten an answer to this. Now, this deals with the violations in different districts. In other words, if you put a concrete purple bunny rabbit in your front yard, right? How does a neighborhood, a community deal with that, right? Is the subject of this. Now, if you have a place like the Villages, we've got 160,000 people living here, whatever. So we have these deed restrictions that we're supposed to stay in compliance with. When we moved into the neighborhood, we agreed to them before we even bought our house, when we were signing on the dotted lines, the contracts, and before we handed over our check, we signed all these things and said, I understand it. I'm going to move in there. So you need some way to enforce that. There's only really two ways you can do it. You can do it voluntarily, where the neighbors kind of let you know you're out of compliance, or we just go hire somebody to drive around the neighborhoods, write them up. And let me tell you, if they did that, there would be stacks and stacks and stacks of paperwork, because you can just go through my neighborhood and see 30, 40 violations. That's a different subject. But to make the one for hire work is not a big deal. You hire the person, that's their job, they go write it up. To do it the other way, where the neighbors kind of report on each other, so to speak, or not each other, but the violations. Hey, you're out of compliance. You know, it could be through ignorance. It could be because they went like this and they said, I don't care about my neighbors. It could be multiple reasons. And to do that, I believe safely, it should be done anonymously. You should be able to write it out. And because really, who cares who reported it, right? The person that's in violation is the person that should care. Hey, man, I screwed up. I didn't do this right. The problem is, just now, I went back and I looked in District 13, which is my district, and they've changed it. So now District 13 is like one of the 5 areas that if you report a violation, they just walk in and say who it is. Now, my thing is put in the comments why that benefits the community for that person to not be anonymous. Not because you care, not because of the reason, because of lawsuits over white crosses and everything else. How it benefits, all right? Just because it's a pain in the butt doesn't mean that it's wrong. So anyway, listen to some of these comments that I got. Rusty, the only reason somebody must know who reported them is so that they can confront the person. I kind of agree with you. To stroke their own ego or something. I don't even understand it. And no good has ever come of that. Does anyone truly believe that once someone finds out the identity of a person who reported them, they will just say, well, okay, and go on and watch Matlock and not care? That's no. Zero chance of that happening. You get tired of hearing, it's my right to face my accuser. I say the entire community should be set up for anonymous reporting. Well, District 13 isn't anymore. Here's another one. Okay, the serious side, I wouldn't be comfortable telling my neighbor to fix something. I wouldn't be offended of being reported. Sometimes we all make mistakes. It's fine to be corrected in life. I agree with you. People need to relax, stop looking for reasons to feel victimized. Life is serious, but save that energy for something else productive. Hey, I agree with it. You know, hey, like I said, reported, I messed up. I completely agree with you, Rusty. When someone moves to the Villages that has rules on maintaining their property, I really don't see it as a personal attack if my property is looking unruly and needs to be addressed. I'd like to think that I'm approachable enough for someone to just tell me. However, some folks don't do confrontation. Well, yeah, I'm not going to read the rest of it, but that's true. My friend up in Kennett Square, they just had the person that took care of their HOA step down, and now the person that's taken over there doesn't enforce any of the rules, and they can already start to see the neighborhood go down. I'm telling you, that's just the way it is. So I'd really like to know your thoughts on this. And if you put your thoughts where I think it shouldn't be anonymous, you should be able to find out who accused you. It's not an accuse. It's just saying, hey, you're out of compliance. Get back in compliance. If you think that, don't tell me that you just think that's the way it is. Tell me how it's going to serve our neighborhoods to do that. We have to keep people in compliance somehow, whether it's through their ignorance or they're doing it deliberately. That's it. So help me out on this one. I'd really like to know your opinion. I'm totally baffled that District 13 is now not anonymous. And by the way, somebody came up with a suggestion, and I don't see why it can't be like this. If you report somebody, you can only report from your district. I get that. It kind of makes sense, right? It keeps a lot of people from other districts trying to jump in or calling from outside the villages and causing problems. That's fine. And then they still stay anonymous. And that's it. What people don't understand is if you report somebody that's not in violation, it stops right there. They look at it and they say, oh, it's not. Either that, or we just go hire somebody to do it. It wouldn't cost that much. I'll bet you I could do all District 13 in 2 days. Do it once a quarter. Is it better that way? I don't think so. I'll say it. Sorry, that was my rant. I got on it, but I honestly believe for that system to work, there has to be an absolute free flow of information, uninhibited. People don't feel threatened because it's not fun to report your neighbor as having a problem with the regulations if it's for real. It's just, that's the way it is. And that information has to free flow to and into the system because we're not hiring somebody to do it. It's non-biased. So anyway, that's it. So let's talk about a few questions and comments. And this first one is, when did people label homes as pre-owned? Aren't a lot of homes pre-owned? It's new to you. Well, the reason is because, a lot of people, well, first of all, the villages labels them as pre-owned. In other words, they're not a new build, a fresh new house. You can see that right here on the website, which again is very good because it's got all the prices and locations and everything else on it. But that's it. It's called pre-owned. Now let's look at some questions here that are a little questionable. There are questions and stuff comments that you guys never get to see because some of them are just so absurd I don't put them up there. And I often look and I go, do these people really think that those of us that live here in the villages, especially those of us that have lived here for a while, do you think that we really can't figure out who doesn't live here that makes these comments and is just making this stuff up? So what I'd like you guys to do, if you could, if you live here in the villages, say so, and tell me, I'm going to put up 3 comments and let me know what you think, whether they're real or not, whether they're true or not. And I'll just put them up there and I'll give you a quick comment afterwards. It's fine. But remember, be nice, because if you're not nice, then I'm not going to put it up there. If you curse, like I always say, throw beach balls, not knives. All right. Anyway, here we go. Here's the first one. I'm laughing already. Here we go. From Gearhead Blondie. Gearhead Blondie. As a healthcare worker in Florida, the villages is good for one thing. You see an upside down pineapple, they are letting you know that they are swingers. The different colored loofahs on their golf carts means the different type of kinky stuff they are into. I see patients on a weekly basis coming in for a routine STD testing. Very disgusting place. Well, I put logic together, and my logic says that if you look up the statistics on the government sites, it'll say that this, in Sumter County, it is one of the lowest STD rates in Florida, period, bar none. So that kind of tells me that this isn't quite right. And obviously, you guys tell me, how many loofahs have you ever seen driving around the villages? And the ones that I've seen, trust me, those people in there aren't swinging anywhere. They're lucky they're driving down the road. So anyway, let me know what you think of Geary Head Blondie. Is she real? And is this stuff true? By the way, I have never seen a pineapple. Okay, on to the next one. Here's a second one, kind of along those same veins, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot on there. But and don't forget to have two puffy on top of the car to show people around that you swap partners and have freaky, buggy nights with other villagers.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure that it's spelled buggy, which means a four-wheeled vehicle that rides around. Freaky buggy nights. I guess that means maybe out going out in your golf cart. I'm not really sure, but let me know. Real or not real person? What else? I'm going to go on to the next one. Here we go. This one's a little more serious, and I'll explain afterwards. Carol Martin writes, retired Northerners. My BF, best friend, will not even consider the villages. Why? His daughters are half Hispanic. I have no retort for that. Enough said. Lovely house, though. Well, I'm going to have enough said. I'm not 100% sure, Carol, whether you actually live here and your best friend won't even come down here because they've got something that's fuzzy in their head about the place. For myself, Carol, I will tell you absolutely, this is probably the most non-prejudicial place I've ever lived in my life, period, bar none. Now, I'm not saying we don't have political differences down here, but I think people actually avoid those political differences because we're all retired. We just want to go out and have a good time and relax. Most of us. There's some idiots all over the place in the world. Got 160,000 people to live here. But as far as I know, this is a great place to live. So you can tell your friend that whatever this Hispanic thing that they have in their head, I don't get it. I don't even know. I don't have a retort for it either. I'm not even going to try because I'm going to throw a couple of beach balls at you and say, hey, this is a great place to live. Anyway, that's about it. I'm going to call it quits. Getting a lot kind of long in the tooth right now. I appreciate your comments about these three things. Remember, be nice. Not everybody gets fed the truth out there. And this is a great place to live. I love it and appreciate your comments. Like I said before, those tours of those homes, all you got to do is get in touch with me through Facebook, and they're fun to do. People really appreciate them. Unfortunately, I'm not a real estate agent and stuff like that. We don't report the price, but you can look up the stuff on the website. And I appreciate you thanking the people that do these because they are literally have told me every single one of them, they're doing it just to help you guys out. So anyway, have a great day, and I will either see you down here in the villages with a big old smile on your face, or I'll see you back here on YouTube. Thanks a lot for joining me. Talk to you later.